Happy Friday, Baylor family, and welcome to Lariat TV News Today. I'm Drake Toll.
And I'm Madison Martin, bringing you this week's newscast from outside of the studio to adhere to social distancing guidelines.
In this week's newscast, we'll recap a major protest in Waco this week. We'll meet a student who's in search of a new kidney and hear from head football coach Dave Aranda on past cancellations and this week's big game.
All that and more on Lariat TV News Today. Let's get started. After a grand jury's decision to indict just one of the police officers involved in Breonna Taylor's death, protesters were sparked nationwide. That included one in Waco, where Baylor students took a stand for racial justice and encouraged political reform. I was there to hear their calls for justice. Late Thursday afternoon, 3 Baylor students hosted a Black Lives Matter protest in response to the verdict given for Breonna Taylor's case, as the officers were not charged with her death.
Do more! We will! Do more! We can! Do more! We will! Do more!
The coordinators Morgan Cosial, Addie Mims, and Brittany Laverne gathered people at the Waco Suspension Bridge to share their feelings towards the continued injustice towards people of color that are yet to be rectified.
I'm just constantly faced with this sadness of seeing these black women not get the justice that they deserve. And being a woman of color is kind of hard because it's like I live in this really nice area of privilege at Baylor, and so I'm not necessarily affected the same way that Breonna Taylor was, who should not have died the way she did.
The protest was used to make steps towards progression and the direction for change.
Definitely brings awareness to the issues and helps people make steps towards progress. Like, for instance, we're going to be calling congressmen and just sort of stepping towards change instead of just sitting around complaining about the issues. We're actually going to be taking action, and that's what really can separate a peaceful protest and make it impactful.
People expressed the impact coming together as a community can have for a common cause.
I think it'll just be an opportunity for a lot of the students and people in Waco in general to be able to get together and express ourselves and how we feel. And I think just having that image of people being together and united for a cause will do a lot just to get more people involved.
Through social unrest, the event was centralized on political reform and encouraged people to use their individual rights by registering to vote. For Lariat TV News, I'm Madison Martin. Yet another protest took place the following day on campus. Despite the smaller scale, they spoke out for profound change. We talked to a student protester about the statement made on Fountain Mall.
Peaceful protest makes a difference because it draws the attention of people, it gets the word out about problems and issues and what we have to say on them, and it can draw the attention of legislators, congressmen, people who make the rules. But it is peaceful, we're all social distancing and wearing masks, and we're just really trying to get the word out and spread awareness of it.
A civil lawsuit against former and current Baylor football players Deontay Williams, Bravion Roy, and TJ Franklin has been resolved, according to the attorney for one of the players. The athletes were sued for failing to pay for damages to the unit they formerly lived in at the Edge Apartments on South 15th Street in Waco. The lawsuit says the damages, minus a security deposit, totaled nearly $4,500 to repair. Roy's attorney, Tim Younger, told the Lariat in a statement, all outstanding issues have been resolved to the satisfaction of everyone concerned. Mr. Roy learned of the dispute through an article and had been unaware of any open items with the lessor. Younger said Roy moved out of the apartment in January to get ready for the NFL draft, and he and his roommates promptly addressed the matter as soon as he found out about the lawsuit.
There are less than 50 days until America picks its president, and only a few days left for you to register to cast your ballot. LTVN's Winston Margaritas took to Fountain Mall to investigate a surge of student voter registration on Tuesday.
In honor of National Voter Registration Day, students had the opportunity to register to vote on campus this Tuesday.
So this event is co-hosted by Baylor Democrats and Texas Rising. Our efforts are nonpartisan, and we're just trying to go in conjunction with Baylor's goal to achieve 100% voter registration on campus.
The event was a convenient way for students to register to vote.
I've been trying to register to vote, but I kept slacking. I kept seeing people post on social media that I need to register to vote, but I just never had the motivation. But I just got back from one of my classes and I saw a booth. I was like, what's a better time than now?
In 7 hours, 113 students registered to vote. If you missed this opportunity, you can still go online to register.
The hype around it is really prevalent on campus. I think a lot of people are really excited they're old enough to vote finally, and kind of we're the generation that's really going to shape the election.
For Lariat TV News, I'm Winston Margaritas.
Just under the 1,000 cumulative case mark, Baylor has once again updated its COVID-19 dashboard to include new information. The two new tabs detail active and new cases broken down into student, faculty, staff, and contractor numbers. These updates come at a time where Baylor's COVID numbers have slowed immensely. As of Thursday, there have only been 34 cases in the last 7 days and 75 active cases total. LTVN's Tim Longoria spoke with the Vice President of Marketing and Communications, Jason Cook, on these digital additions.
Baylor publishes this daily coronavirus dashboard really as a method of being open and transparent about the prevalence of COVID-19 on our campus. So we collect all of this information from the different data sources, and then we have a tech team within our IT group that actually comes in, makes sure it's pulled together, and we can present it in a dynamic graphical interface. You'll be able to tell which portions of the university community are actually receiving the highest number of COVID-19 cases.
The head of the White House Coronavirus Task Force says Baylor's improving COVID numbers can be a valuable tool to help other schools fight the virus. Dr. Deborah Birx came to Waco earlier this week, and LTVN's Sarah Gill tells us why she praised Baylor's COVID-19 response.
These universities that opened and staying open are providing the playbook for universities across this country to be able to open in the spring.
Dr. Deborah Birx, the White House Coronavirus Response Coordinator, stopped by Baylor's campus Monday afternoon to hear about the university's strategic response to COVID-19. This visit by Dr. Birx was a part of her nationwide college tour.
The key success in Baylor and the universities that we have seen is they spent the summer planning. They brought, while everybody else was going on vacation, and I'm sure it was very unpopular at the time, they brought in the faculty and the staff to really plan through all of these issues so they would be ready in August.
Dr. Birx said that Baylor is on the top end of universities in their degree of surveillance testing for asymptomatic cases.
What I think Baylor will provide to the nation, which I think is critically important, is what to look for, how to find it, and how to care for those students and community.
While she was impressed with Baylor's surveillance testing, she said there can always be more.
We want to work with the university to get them what they need to be able to potentially double the amount of surveillance testing they're doing. But I think they're off to a great start, and what's critically important is they thought about it.
The meeting was with Baylor officials along with city and county officials. This community outreach being another key component to Baylor's success.
The community has a higher test positivity than the college and university.
We can't just be in the Baylor bubble here. We have to all be working together and all coming to do the right thing.
It's the attention to detail that matters most.
Every time someone got up in that room, a whole set of group came in and cleaned the table and cleaned the chairs. I mean, you can imagine how much work that is continuously.
Dr. Birx will continue her college tour with Texas A&M up next.
Each university provides another unique nugget of understanding that we'll be able to put together so that there will be a roadmap to success for all universities in the spring.
For Lariat TV News, I'm Sarah Gill.
In need of a new kidney, one Baylor student's story has spread near and far. LTVN will sit down with her up next.
You've seen them all around campus. We'll also visit some of the food trucks that have settled in on campus. Don't go anywhere.
The best and brightest are drawn to Baylor, where those from many backgrounds with many talents shine together before casting their light outward to illuminate the world. Through transformational learning opportunities that are grounded in Christian faith and service, and research that impacts lives and communities. Baylor University, a place where lights shine bright.
She's looking for a guardian angel. A Baylor student goes from spring break in paradise to the desperate search for a new kidney. LTVN's Grace Smith sat down with Cassidy and finds out what happened behind her life-changing turn of events.
I get a call from my doctor, and I was like, this is weird. And I answer, and she's like, Cassidy, you need to come back to downtown and get admitted to the hospital. And I'm like, why? And she was like, your kidney's failing.
What was supposed to be a typical spring break in paradise for Cassidy Grisella.
I left my dorm room with like just what I needed for a tropical vacation.
And quickly turned into a very unexpected journey for the fight of her life.
When I got there, for some reason, I was just feeling really off, like very fatigued. My joints were hurting really bad, and I didn't know why.
At just 19 years old, Grisella is diagnosed with a rare autoimmune disease called vasculitis in March of this year.
I can do this, and like I'm going to make it through this.
After spending months in and out of the hospital on chemotherapy and dialysis, she is finally on the road to remission. However, her kidneys are suffering from her treatments, and she is in desperate need of a transplant.
My goal is maybe by the end of the year, early next year, I'll have a kidney transplant. Just anyone that's willing to like share the message or spread the word to like someone that's willing to do something like this would just really mean a lot to me, because the more people I can have like as potential donors, the higher and higher chances I'm going to have someone that's a match.
Here is how you can help. If you have O blood type and want to be considered as a potential donor, go to www.mnlivingdonor.org.
Life isn't forever, and you can't take everything for granted all the time. I really want my life back, and I feel like I have so much to provide now that I've gone through something like this. Like I feel like I have so much to share and teach people when it comes to just like appreciating life.
Cassidy has inspired those close to her to look at life just a little differently.
My perspective has changed, just being like, okay, being intentional with people goes so far, and you know, friendships that you make in college can last for a long time after, and so it's not something to just be to treat lightly.
We can all help Cassidy out by sharing her story and her need for a transplant. Let's get the word out and bring Cassidy her match that will forever change her life, literally. For LTVN, I'm Grace Smith.
With the 5th week of classes coming to a close, new students are settled into their dorms and routines. However, some may still be missing home. According to the Baylor's Counseling Center, 3 in 10 students struggle with homesickness, and the number for new students is much higher.
About 30% of all college students experience some degree of homesickness. But for first-year students, almost 70% may experience severe homesickness. But it's more than simply missing home or family. It's also feeling alone and feeling out of place. And it can include feelings of anger, sadness, or anxiety. Well, we have several services to offer students that are feeling homesick. One of these is a support group that is specific for the impact of COVID-19. Also, we have individual counseling. So especially if you're not seeing a reduction in your feeling of being homesick after a month or two, we would be available to talk to you and help you through that time.
Students who are struggling are encouraged to reach out to the Counseling Center through their website, over the phone, or even on social media.
The Pi Kappa Chi fraternity took a major step to fight COVID by partnering with Baylor Scott & White to donate 10,000 bottles of hand sanitizer to Baylor students free of charge. LTVN spoke with those who made it happen.
We were fortunate enough to have friends at Baylor Scott & White who were willing to give us, we thought, 10,000 bottles of sanitizer to hand out on campus. But when it arrived today, it's over 21,000 bottles. The bottles are worth about $5 each, so we have about $110,000 worth of product that was given to us to help our campus be safer.
We're hoping to distribute to every single dorm individually, and then we'll be on the middle of Fountain Mall for every single Baylor student. It's available for student, faculty, graduate, anybody that is part of the Baylor community. This hand sanitizer is for you guys.
Students are hungry for a new taste of Waco on campus, and Baylor has answered the call by partnering with local food establishments to provide a more diverse mobile dining options and tasty treats.
Many of the food trucks Baylor partnered with saw coming to campus as an opportunity for more social interaction and giving students a side of cultural diversity with their meal.
I'll be glad when COVID is over. But then again, I'm thankful that we're going through this experience in order for all of us to learn, you know. And it's all about treating each other with respect, and it's also giving us opportunity to speak to one another. Because daily, you don't see that anymore. Everybody just passes by.
Other businesses use the partnership to spread awareness about the needs for more cultural variety in the city.
We're so very certainly vocal about diversity and even racial, especially with this current political climate. We see a lot of diverse customers here, like all cultural backgrounds, and more than anything, we really try to create a safe space.
People on campus share why they're eager to take a bite of the new mobile dining options offered at Baylor this month.
A lot of diversity and you got food trucks, cheese trucks. It's not just one, single thing. It's kind of all over for different passions, different desires, different cultures, and it's just a way to express them.
For Lariat TV News, I'm Madison Martin.
This week, Baylor held one of the largest career events of the semester with 2,067 students in attendance, and it was done entirely online. Students had the chance to meet 147 employers looking to hire them. Accenture was the most popular with 464 students showing interest. Brinshavia Jordan of LTVN spoke with one of the Baylor faculty members who helped make this happen.
There are plenty of jobs for students, and the beautiful thing is there's 148 companies wanting to hire Baylor students.
Recruiters like myself still have that ability to just gauge your social skills, your interpersonal skills, as you continue on with the career fair. Make sure that you bring that type of organization with each company that you're going to be meeting.
Mark your calendars. The Spring Virtual Career Day is just 153 days away and will be held February 24th, 2021.
Running the line is one of Baylor's most popular traditions, but with no football comes no line. Even though last Saturday's matchup with Houston may have been postponed, Baylor still found a way to bring the freshman and senior class to McLean Stadium to salvage tradition, and LTVN's George Schroeder was there.
Every year, Baylor freshmen make the march across this bridge on their way to run the Baylor line. However, due to the coronavirus, the line will not be happening as usual this year. But even with 2 game cancellations, Baylor has still found a way to make the class of 2024 feel very special. Hundreds of freshmen and seniors lined up on Saturday at McLean Stadium, and despite the game cancellation, many students had a very positive outlook on the day's event.
I think it's really cool that they're trying to still, maintain the special traditions that they've always set in place, even though it's a little different with the mask and the social distancing and just the way it's going around here. Yeah. The fact that they're making an effort to give us this event is really important to us.
Yeah. Baylor President Linda Livingstone and her husband, First Gent Brad Livingstone, also made an appearance on Saturday, taking selfies with and talking to students as they waited in line.
But we knew that because the game was postponed that we had a lot of students that had been so excited about coming, particularly our freshmen and our seniors. So we thought it'd be a great opportunity for them to get together, to sign the Baylor line, to celebrate being together in a safe and socially distanced way, even when we couldn't have a game. So everybody's here, they're having a great time. We're having a really good day today.
Students were given the chance to sign the Baylor Line Tunnel, take their official line jersey photo on the field, and the first several hundred students were given free food from local Waco City food trucks.
I'm definitely glad that we still got to do something today because the Baylor Line is such a great tradition and it's one of my favorite things, and I'm glad we got to still be a part of it.
Yeah, they definitely make us feel like they want us to be a part of it.
By doing this, they're really showing an effort to make as much happen as possible with all of COVID going on and just everything. So I think it's great.
Although no one knows what Baylor's athletic future looks like, it appears that the university will make every effort to hold on to their valuable traditions, even during a pandemic. For Lariat TV News, I'm George Schroeder.
COVID-19 has surely altered Baylor's first 2 scheduled football games. We'll hear from Coach Aranda up next.
We'll also catch up with Coach McGuire of Baylor Volleyball as his Lady Bears meet Kansas this weekend in their first match since playing in the national semifinal last winter. Stay tuned.
At Baylor, our lights shine
while we push our limits
and guide the way.
At Baylor, our lights shine as we're making connections
and making an impression
as leaders
and as part of something bigger.
Baylor's light shines around the world, but it starts in each of us. Baylor, where lights shine bright.
COVID-19 concerns have delayed the start of the Bears football season 2 weeks in a row. And while COVID tests this week point to Baylor playing Saturday, contact tracing and positive tests have pushed and pulled coaches, players, and fans alike at the last 20 days. Here's Mac Rhodes and Dave Aranda on the disappointment of 2 cancellations. Baylor football team plans on playing the Kansas Jayhawks to start the 2020 season with some Big 12 action. The previous 2 games that were scheduled have been canceled due to COVID-19 complications.
There's some minimums that you need to meet in terms of certain position groups, right? The offensive line 7, interior defensive line 4, and quarterback 1. As part of the 3 tests that we have to implement on a weekly basis prior to game. That first test was yesterday, and so we'll receive those results, mid to late afternoon. And certainly, once we have those results, we'll know more. But just given the fact that we have some of those young men returning within that position group throughout the week, we feel good about playing Kansas.
While it's been difficult to stay prepared through 2 weeks of no games, Aranda's Bears are encouraging each other and ready to have their numbers called on Saturdays.
Yeah, I'm continually impressed with this team, and I want to be with them on a Saturday on the sideline. I go back to Friday night and Saturday night, texting back and forth, calling guys on the phone, and just the there's guys who are lifting me up at times, and I'm calling to try to lift their spirits, and so it's impressive to see.
The Baylor family hopes to be able to back the Bears once again when games return. For Lariat TV News, I'm Tim Longoria. With COVID complications seemingly out of the way, the Bears now turn their attention to the long-awaited season opener, this time against Kansas at McLean Stadium. With Heisman hopeful Charlie Brewer taking the field alongside receivers like Tyquan Thornton and under new offensive coordinator Larry Fedora, Baylor's offense is primed for big play success. We heard from both Baylor offensive stars as they expect to finally take the field at McLean.
They're a physical defense that's going to fly around, play with a lot of effort. So it'll be a tall task. We're going to have to play really well. I know that those guys will be fired up to come play, so we got to be firing on all cylinders, kind of match their intensity.
Yeah, we done missed out on 2 games, so we ready to play. I feel like we'll hit the ground running because we getting them game reps every day in practice. Practice is not no walkthroughs, everything. Every day a work day here, so we getting them quality reps, going fast. So I feel like we got the connection down pat. We respect Kansas. They have some good players on their team, but I expect nothing less than last year.
The defending Big 12 champions are running it back. Coach Ryan McGuire and his volleyball squad are headed to Lawrence this weekend to take on the Kansas Jayhawks in a 2-match series. LTVN's Nate Smith got an up-close look on how the Bears plan to begin their title defense.
After the longest offseason in school history, the Bears volleyball squad is gearing up for their season opener against the Kansas Jayhawks. Coach Ryan McGuire's team is coming off of the best season in school history. But it's safe to say that the Bears aren't content with being one-hit wonders.
For me personally, I just want to show everyone that it wasn't a fluke last year. Everyone was like, yeah, Baylor, oh yeah, this is just a one-time thing. It's not. We're all here to show that we're here to stay, that we're here for the top.
This season, the Bears returned 5 starters, including National Player of the Year Yassiana Presley and all Big 12 players Marika Vandermark and Hannah Sedgwick. Presley and company will also welcome 5 newcomers to the group and transfers Lauren Harrison, Lachey Harper, and Andresa Parise to go along with freshmen Cassie Davis and Giselle Vogel.
The biggest strengths of this team is how diverse we are, how many veterans we have, how many freshmen we have. We have 19 people in the gym right now, so we get to have more reps. We get to have people's, abilities shine through. So Cassie provides something that I don't. I provide something that Marika doesn't. Marika provides something that, and the list just goes on.
The Jayhawks were a middle-of-the-road team in the Big 12 last year, finishing 6th in the conference with an overall record of 9-17. Kansas only returns 3 starters, but does add some experience in the form of transfer hitters Anessa Zabo, Paige Shaw, and Jenny Mosser.
Kansas will know more about us than we know about them for sure, just because we do have returners going out there. They're going to be a lot different than last year, but honestly, I think they've upgraded in all those positions.
The Bears will kick off the first of 8 weekend series against Big 12 opponents in Lawrence on Friday, before wrapping up their season series with the Jayhawks on Saturday. For Lariat TV News, I'm Nate Smith.
After opening the season with a scoreless draw against TCU, Baylor soccer fought their way to another scoreless tie with Texas Tech last weekend. But not all draws are created equal. The Red Raiders were preseason favorites to win the conference, so a draw with them was critical for the Bears' hopes of competing for a Big 12 title. Here's head coach Paul Jobson on how the Bears hope to use their momentum from last week's match for their upcoming bout with Iowa State.
Defense first. We can be in any game if we can keep the ball out of back of our goal. So, I feel good about that, and still growing and learning defensively too. I don't think we've really gotten to the peak of what I think we can do defensively. Obviously, with Jen in the goal, it allows us to make some mistakes in front of her, but we hope that we make fewer and fewer, especially as our offense starts to kick.
Both the men's and women's cross-country teams swept Abilene Christian in their dual meet last weekend. The results included personal bests from both Connor Lactizik in the 8K and Celia Holmes in the 5K. The Bears will now look toward October 3rd, where they'll take on the Oklahoma State Cowboys at the Cowboy Jamboree.
From COVID-19 to the search for a kidney, that's all for this week's newscast.
Be sure to watch us on BaylorLariat.com, the Waco City channel, or catch us every Friday in the Lariat's Morning Buzz.
Thanks for watching Lariat TV News. Tune in next Friday for more student-focused content about Baylor for Baylor.